great. You have both had a lot of pathos. I like that.
Thank you so
much.
It's
an honor having you.
Hello, debaters. You guys did a fantastic job. I also have some very persnickety comments for you guys. You did a really good job. So we're really only just talking to you guys about how to make the great excellent. So you shouldn't take any of these comments as if we're not suggesting that you did a fantastic job, because I think everyone unanimously acknowledges that you did. Unfortunately, I have to disagree with some of the previous comments with respect to your pacing. I think both of you guys need to slow way, way down. You have the ability to, or when you're in a circumstance like this and you're the speaker, you quite literally command the stage and you get to decide what it is you're going to say and how you're going to say it. You can use your voice in a certain sort of rhythm in order to convince the audience of how some of the things that you say are more important than others, right? Like with the use of pauses and the subtle emphasis that you can put in your speech, it's a wonderful tool that you have at your use. However, in order to take advantage of it, you have to be speaking in a way that allows me to interpret what you're saying. So I would slow way, way down if I were both of you. And frankly, I know from personal experience, once you get started going fast, that argument's just over. You're going to do that entire argument fast. There's not a whole lot you can do to stop it mid-flow. But because of this particular argument gave you guys a break in between, you had the opportunity to remodulate yourself. And I would tell you that both of you came back in a little bit more of a serene and calm pace that was made both of your rebuttals far more I think impressive, and it is probably a better exercise of what you're capable of doing. So I commend you both on that. Mohammed, I want to tell you that I felt like you had a lot of little verbal, I guess, bon mots that you use to convey your message. So, for example, you started off by talking about how historically speaking, a lot of people can't breathe, which sort of ties into the conversation that we're having nationally. And that's a very good use of your particular argument. You also talked about how we were in a public health crisis and tied your argument to the fact that this isn't just a question of policing, or even primarily a question of policing, but it's a question of safety and security of the public. So the public health crisis was very, very effective. You could have used a little bit more signposts, right? Like you could have said, I'm going to tell you the following 3 things: first, second, third. That sort of thing just helps the reader stay along with you in throughout the flow of your argument. I want to particularly commend you for your comparison when you explained the difference between 2 months of training versus 2 years of training, like how the police officers themselves were not competent to do the things that we're asking them to do, and we need to make sure that we're aware of that. And for your very first argument, your conclusion was excellent. So I have no comments about it all. It was quite simply excellent. When you came back, there was a little bit of a colloquy between you and Dean Bledsoe where you used the phrase "these people," and so I would caution you to be careful when you do that in that sort of circumstance, because it may have other connotations other than what you meant. Amaya, your intro was just a little long. I felt like it lasted longer than it should have, and I kind of got a little bit lost in it because I went somewhere else in my head. But as soon as you got into your argument, man, was it good. You did a good job of showing the passion that you felt about the argument. And I think with a little bit of slower pacing, that passion would elevate itself into poise and would make you a very, very commendable debater. And I would highly recommend you do it, because I can, in my mind, already see how great it would be if you can get that under control. You used the phrase, "that's an excellent question," a little bit too much. It's almost as like a thinking stall. It's something that you can say while you organize your thoughts. But unfortunately, if you say it 4 times in a row in response to questions, it sounds a little bit like something that you say via rote. So I myself like a good thinking stall. I would just suggest you mix them up a little bit so that it isn't obvious to people that you're using them. Quite frankly, it's an excellent little technique that you're using. So I appreciate that you are doing that. I would suggest to you that you have the ability to use a little bit more of those things to buy yourselves time. Like if someone asks you a question and you tell them, I have 2 points that I want to make, you bought yourself time to get through both that first and second point. So that's the thing I want to tell you. The last thing I will tell you is that you added in a quote from Sheriff Gonzalez, and you said that you want to help the force, not distress them. Those were really, really good sentences, and those are things that I remembered and wrote down, so they clearly worked. Lastly, I'll just say congratulations to you both. You're already stars.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.